What is up, fam? Welcome back to the Steep Stuff Podcast. I'm your host, James Lauriello, and today I'm joined by co-host Bailey Kowalczyk. Couldn't think of anyone better to help me race preview Sierre Zinal. Sierre Zinal, arguably the granddaddy of them all, probably the most competitive short trail race on the planet, the beautiful intersection of the trail and marathon slash road world in a place called Sierre, and they run to a place called Zinal. One of the most iconic courses probably on the planet. It was really exciting to be able to preview this race, talk about the elite field, both on the men's and women's side. And I couldn't think of a better co-host than Bailey. Bailey talked about her own experiences at this race. She gave a beautiful breakdown and commentation on the race, why it's so important to the sport. We talked a lot about the course. We talked about course records, kind of her beliefs and what she thinks might happen on the day, and then really dissected the elite fields on both the men's and women's side. And she gave her expert picks on what she thought was going to go down on the day, and I did the same. One of my favorite race previews. I think there's a lot of value here, especially for those of you that are really into the free trail fantasy. I think you're going to get a ton of value for your fantasy picks. That's why we're getting this out on a Wednesday, so you guys can kind of lock in those picks before the poll closes. So hope you guys get a lot of enjoyment out of this one. I think this is something I'm going to start doing a little bit more moving forward, where we have alumni of the races do more of these race previews, so they can give better commentary and just kind of paint a better picture on some of these races and give you guys just some more firsthand knowledge of what it's like to line up at these races. So without further ado, I hope you enjoy this one. Without further ado, I hope you guys enjoy this one. Sierre Zinal race preview episode with co-host Bailey Kowalczyk.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are live.
Bailey Kowalczyk, welcome back to the Steep Stuff Podcast. How's it going?
I am so happy to be here. This is going to be an exciting conversation. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I couldn't think honestly of anyone better to be a co-host for the Sierre Zinal preview episode. You have so much experience with that race. I feel like you could just paint such a beautiful picture for the audience. And I didn't even realize this, but it seems like you really love this race, which is awesome. So,
well, I'm honored. Thank you for thinking of me. Sierre Zinal is so special to me. It is, I'd say, where I had probably my career breakout race, but then I've also had a really terrible day there. So it's a race that I've kind of seen both sides of, and I still want to come back. I still have huge goals for that race, and it's just such a special place to be. So yeah, I'm stoked to talk about it.
Oh, I love it. All right, let's get right into it. I got to ask you the question. This is the one I had highlighted. What does this race mean to you? What about it makes it so special? Is it just the audience and how many eyes it gets on it? Is it the challenge of the course? What about this race just makes it so and special and so amazing?
Yeah. So I think one of the big things is that the European culture is so special. European racing is, it has history behind it. It has meaning. People show up, whether it's nice outside or raining. It kind of has that Zegama vibe almost. It's not the exact same. I don't want to compare it too much, but it's people put a similar weight on it. So I think there's the initiative to go there to race the best of the best of the best. It's always going to be competitive, no matter what. Like, I don't think I've ever seen a year there where it's not competitive. The times are always quite similar for top 10. So I think there's that appeal, but then also the community, the people that come out there. There's people all the way at the top of the mountain all day long, like swinging these huge, they're cowbells, but they're ginormous. These things are huge, like next level Swiss cowbells. There's people with this kind of freaks me out, but there's people with chainsaws up at the top, like literally like just starting the chainsaw over and over again. So I think there's the piece of like really feeding off of the crowd and the energy. They call it the Boston Marathon of the trails. And I've never run Boston Marathon, but I think I would compare it to what I would expect like a world major marathon to feel like the energy, everybody, it's fast, it's electric. There's constantly new variables. Like you have to be a jack of all trades to do well there. And I think there's the appeal there. Plus it is probably one of the more inviting races for like road runners coming to the trail as well. I always hesitate to say that because you start with a double VK. So to the road runners out there, it is not a road. However, if you come from a road background, it can really play to your favor. So I think just all of those pieces combine to make this really magical, special event.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. Such a good way to put it. And you touched on so many important things there. Well, let's talk about the competitiveness. I think that I've never been there. I've never raced this race. As an outside viewer, as an athlete in the sport, I've always kind of viewed this as my crown jewel of like a race that I would love to go do someday. Would you agree that it's probably the most competitive short trail race in the world? One of, if not, because I know Zagama gets a ton as well. And I know it's hard to compare and contrast, but I feel like this one, just because there's such that intersection of bringing, especially the Kenyan contingent just gets so deep here.
Yeah. And I would say Zagama also has a ton of depth, but it has a lot more technicality and a lot more variables that they're a little bit more finessed than Sierre Zinal, if that makes sense. I do think Sierre Zinal holds more depth. And the reason being, if you look at the spread between first and 10th in Sierre Zinal, it is always so small. If you misstep if you have one bad mile, you're losing like 5 to 10 places versus I feel like there's a little bit more margin for error at Zagama, maybe because it's a longer race. For women, it runs 2 hours longer almost. So I think there's that piece, but the competition is insane. There's 30 athletes every year that could be in the top 10 and have a place in the top 10 and are really high level professional athletes. And I think that's not all that common with that many sub ultra races in the world. Yeah, that's a very bold statement, but I'm going to say it with purpose because I think it's true.
I like it. Can we get into a little bit of your experience there? On 2022, you landed on the podium. You got a 5th place finish, which was, what? On the world's biggest stage in short trail, to be able to go do that. I can't imagine what that must have felt like. Can you maybe paint the picture to the audience of what that was like for you?
Yeah, it honestly was one of the best days of my life. Honestly, I do think I have more days like that to come. I'm confident about that. But that day, I mean, it was what everyone dreams of. I mean, obviously you dream of winning, but my goal wasn't to win the race. I wanted to just experience it so that I could go back and get better. And I think having a day that went so smoothly, it just lit the fire big time for me. It's a race that I really respect. And I think it does take a lot to succeed there. And there was a lot of time after the race that I was like, oh, I got lucky. Maybe my time wasn't that fast, but my time holds up. It would have been between 3rd and 5th place the last 3 years. And of course I'm checking, as we all do. So yeah, I'm really, really proud of that result. And I'm not done. I think there's the fun thing about Sierre Zinal is that time actually means something. So there's time incentives. You get, there's podiums based on time. And for women, I think it starts around 320 or 315. And then every 5-minute increment, there's a bigger kind of bonus. And so I know what I'm chasing next, but it's really, that was just such a special day for me. And I still dream of that day.
Amazing. 2026. That's it. That's what
2026 is the year.
Got
Yeah.
into
Quote me on it.
There you go. Let's talk about the course a little bit. I know I feel like this is a really tricky one to get right. I've talked to quite a few athletes that have prepared for this race. Some have had success in the past and some have not. Like that double VK in the beginning is a hard thing to nail. And then especially being able to, like, once you get over that, to be able to have legs and turnover for what's after that. Maybe talk a little bit about both preparation for a race like this and just how to nail it correctly without destroying yourself on that ascent.
Yeah, it is interesting because so many people tackle it so differently as well. I think it is interesting because Americans historically haven't done, like, I can count on one hand the amount of Americans that have really nailed it. I think this year will be a cool, exciting year because I think there's 2 Americans that could land themselves in the top 10. But it's, from the start, it feels like a road race. You start so hot and you're packed in like sardines. So it's intimidating. And I think a lot of people burn their matches too quickly. You know, you're jumping straight into a almost double VK, and then you have to expect to have the legs to run for another 12 to 15K on a ridge and then shoot downhill like, 2,500 feet. So it is hard to master. I would say that I think it's really easy to go out too hot, to sell your soul too early, and then not be able to have the legs to run that like fast portion in the middle that is very much douche grade. I don't know if you're familiar with that term, but it's not flat running up top. Like, you're still getting a good bit of climbing. You're still working uphill. It's not just pure road running once you get to the top. So not only do you run this double VK, but then you have to survive through the douche grade and somehow have the legs to go downhill. So, I think there's 2 types of athletes that thrive here. I think there's the people that are really, really good climbers and runners, and that's kind of that Kenyan contingency. And in that group of people, I would consider like I think it's Milimani runners, and then like Run Together. Those 2 teams do really well because they're great at uphill. They're great. They usually come from a road background. But then the other type of person that I've seen thrive here are the people that have the engine. They don't necessarily start super fast, but then they turn on once they get to the top. And you've seen, I cannot remember which man it was, but one year this guy ran through 8 people to get second place in the last like 10K of the race. And so you don't necessarily have to run that first part like a crazy person, but it does require some specificity. And I think, so you want speed, but you don't just want speed. You want that engine too, to be able to climb and descend like a good mountain runner as well. So it's kind of, I like to think that my background suits me well in that way. So yeah.
Is there a fair amount of technicality on the course, or is it is it like a freeway?
That's a question. I feel like I have this debate with a lot of people. I would consider it not very technical at all. However, the downhill is not to be taken lightly. Like, it's not a fire road. It's very steep, very eroded, almost like really loose, powdery dirt is the best way I would say it. There are roots, it's not a completely seamless trail, but it's really, really fast. So the grades are really steep, but I would not consider it technical. And then the entire ridge up top is like almost double track vibes. So it really, you don't have to be the most technically savvy runner to do well at Sierre Zinal, but I do think it still works in your favor, especially on the downhill.
It's crazy. It was cool last year watching, not just cool, it was astounding last year to watch Killian and Philemon battle it out on that last descent. One of the questions I have is that, I noticed, it might have been KJ had cut switchbacks going down. You can do that in this race, right?
There aren't even really switchbacks. You basically just straight line the downhill. So this is a race where they're usually very clear, like world championships. You have to take every switchback. That's how it works. That's how they do it. But this downhill, if switchbacks exist, I was not aware of them. It's basically just this dirt, like straight shot. There's maybe a few switchbacks towards the end, but you can cut. And I think that's why Kilian has really perfected that downhill, because he probably at this point knows the straightest, most direct route down the hill. Yeah.
So crazy. I mean, some battles over the years. It's going to be cool. I mean, I think there's a lot of like history to this race, a lot of talking points, a lot of like news with who's going to be here this year. Like Maud's back. There's quite a few athletes that are going to be participating. That it's pretty crazy. Just for the audience, I just want to run through some statistics before we get into some storylines and stuff like that. First thing, because I know I get a lot of questions around this with course records. Kilian Jornet has the course record from last year, 2:25.34. He has the most wins out of any male, 10 wins. And then Maud Mathies will be racing this year. Course record 2:49.20, set back in 2019. Maud has 4 wins, and she's tied with Anna Pichova, who also has 4 wins. On the women's question, do you think we'll get a course record this year?
It's interesting. Is her course record 49 or 46?
49.
Okay.
20. Yeah.
Okay. It's a great question. I do not think so.
Okay. So that's just like a really
side.
hard. That's like a stout.
I think Maud's time, she has not even touched it. I don't think the women's will get a course record, and I hope I'm proven wrong, because I love to see that. But I think the men's could go down, honestly. Like if I was to put money on which course record could go down, I think it would be men over women. I think Philemon is someone who's run this race enough and has the competition this year to really take off those last few. I'm not entirely sure what his PR is, but I don't think it's much. I don't think it's too far behind Kilian's time.
It's like 20. It might be even less than 20 seconds behind.
Yeah, I think he's only gotten better and only leveled up in the last few years.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's literally a second and a half. So
yeah. So I think that the men's course record will go down. I mean, I've been checking, and Maud's time has held up over the years. Like nobody has been that close to her time. And so I think if one course record's going to go down, it's going to be the men's.
I could see that. No, so my big question mark is always Philemon, because like I always have Philemon and Patrick together because they like to work together in races.
Yeah.
Interesting tandem. And there's going to be a lot of their teammates at this race as well. For some reason, Philemon just has this course figured out. I don't know what it is, but he's won this race in 2023. He got second place last year, right there with Kilian, like an epic battle. Yeah, I feel like he's got to be the favorite going into this race, especially with Remy not in. El Huzin has struggled in this race before. Like it's, I would put him as the betting favorite easily.
Yeah, and I think typically I would put Patrick as a favorite for any other course.
Yeah.
But this course in particular, Philemon, he really has it dialed. And unfortunately, Remy hasn't had the day that we all know he's capable of at this race. I've kind of talked to him about that a little bit. There's a lot of pressure on his kind of home course. But I think this year in particular, Philemon's he's going to have to work for it, obviously. But I think it'll be a good year for him.
Oh, for sure. For sure. One thing I want to talk about and get into is just some of the history behind this race. Like this race goes back to 1974, which for short trail races, there's not too many you can name that have gone that far back, especially, just around the world. And then the other thing to bring up to your point, only 3 American women have won this race: Megan Lund, Stevie Kramer, and then Sophia Lauchley back in 2023. And she ran 2:53.17. So that's crazy. I do think, and I will agree with you, there's probably 2 women I could definitely name off the top of my head in this contingent that could definitely get on the podium. 100%.
Yeah. Yeah. And I don't think there's that many years where there's more than one, and you'd have to correct me, but where there's more than one woman in the top 10. The year that more than one American woman in the top 10. And the year that I did it, there were 2 of us. And my hope is that there's 2 and hopefully more this year. There's a lot of American women out there, as there always are, but I think that there's a lot of really, really strong names going this year.
So crazy. Yeah, I think we have a significantly better chance on the women's side than we do the men. Like the men's contingent is much smaller, and it's so crazy how like terrible history like the men have at this race. Like
Oh my gosh.
we haven't won this since 1982. Like this
And even top 10, it's been really challenging for US men in particular. And I have my theories on that, but I think I've seen one of the best. Eli Hemming is one of the best sub ultra / ultra now.
Yeah.
Trail runners, and he's been kind of obliterated by this race, and I don't mean that in a mean way, but it's just it chews up and spits a lot of really talented athletes out. Matt Daniels is another name who on paper should be doing really, really well at this race and has just had a lot of trouble. And I think I hope that these men keep coming back and trying to nail it, but it has been tough. I think part of that is how fast it goes out and how impatient a lot of the field is with that initial climb. Like instead of being patient and holding off a little bit before the full send, it feels like everybody takes off like a rocket ship, and a lot of people aren't necessarily prepared to cash that check.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, you're talking, I'd think for that altitude, probably mid 4 to high 4 grade adjusted pace, like for the men going off. And that's from a sustainability perspective for a 19-mile race. That's really hard to hold for 2 VK.
Yeah. And it's also, I mean, what a lot of spectators don't necessarily realize, or spectators from their computer, people that are just following, it's hot. It is really, really hot. It's really humid, and they start the race at 11 a.m.
Oh,
so it's not a race where you're, working with the environment's variables very well. Like last year was probably one of the hottest races I've ever experienced. And I think part of that is because you start the race in the middle of the day. So I think that poses its own set of challenges. And, it's not your classic sub ultra race where you can get away with not fueling, not hydrating, not cooling. You almost need to treat it more like an ultra than you do a sub ultra, I think, just with cooling and being proactive and staying hydrated. Like, 3 hours ish, give or take, is enough time for things to really go south if you're not doing the small things, especially these days.
I can't imagine the quad cramps. Like if you don't take care of yourself, the quad cramps have got to be excruciate. Like that's got to be horrible, especially with the humidity. What is your nutrition strategy for a race like this? Like when you ran it last year, like what were you like, how many gels in the race? Like what were you doing?
I treat it so I think the fun part about Sierre Zinal is that you can get crew anywhere on the course. So if you have people that are able to be at different spots, you really don't have to carry much. I think the weight that you're carrying on you, like fueling wise, it doesn't matter. It adds up, especially over the double VK. You don't want to be carrying 2 liters of water with you. Right. So for me, I was carrying 500 milliliters of fluid on me at any one time. And then just doing really quick handoffs in places that made sense. The gels, I think, so last year I was aiming for 90 grams of carbs an hour. Like it looks very similar to what you would see in an ultra. I think you can go a little bit lighter on the fluids if you want. But for me, I wanted the security of making sure that I was like going to be functional on the downhill. And I think this goes for both of the years that I did it. I can't remember exactly what I did in 2022, but I remember taking 2 to 3 gels an hour and maybe 500 milliliters an hour. Whereas in a 5-hour race, I'd probably shoot for 750 milliliters of water, but it's still like, you still want that hydration and you still want to be fueling because it'll really save you for the back hour to hour and a half.
Let me ask you this. I always get this question a lot. Like during a race or after a race, someone will ask me like, did you like look up? Did you see this? Did you like pay attention to the beautiful background? I'm like, no, I was looking down, killing myself. Like I don't look around. Do you ever like stop to like look at like Hotel Weisshorn and like look at that gorgeous area with this beautiful backdrop of the Alps? Like, did you actually like take it in at all?
That's such an interesting question because I think I blacked out in 2022 and it was just full on like steamroller mode. Like I felt so good and was like, I need to just keep this ball rolling. Like it was like tunnel vision. So no. But last year when I had some sort of like heat, I don't want to say heat stroke because I didn't land in the hospital, but it was like some sort of heat injury and just not doing well. It wasn't a good day and that happens. But that's when I was like, wait a minute. I ran this in 2022. I don't remember any of this. And I had to find those like really in those really dark moments, I had to find something to be grateful for. So I was like, holy crap, this place is amazing. This is awesome. Like there's a guy with a chainsaw. None of that I noticed in 2022. So I think it depends on the race, but I can probably speak for most of the competitive field that they're appreciating that before and after the race and not necessarily during. During, it's kind of like survival mode and tunnel vision mode.
Yep. Just killing yourself. Yep. It's fun stuff. Let's talk some of the women's storylines I want to get into. Like there's 5 of the 6 women from the podium on last year are going to be returning, which is crazy, including the champion from 2024, Jolene Chepaniego. I think I got her last name right. Naomi Lang, who just won Pitt's Alpine Glacier Trail this past weekend, is going to be coming to this race as well. I got to ask you this. It's hard now with like the back-to-back Golden Trail Series races, like weekend after weekend. Like, do you think that's going to play a role in fatigue? Like, I have to think it will.
The year I ran it, it was back-to-back weekend with Golden Trail. Yeah. So there was the Norway race, which was heinous. It was so technical. It honestly looked very similar to what they got in Austria. And I honestly thought that it would play a bigger role, but it seemed like most people from Norway were pretty, I actually don't know the exact names that raced Norway. I'm not sure anyone in front of me also raced Norway. So that could have been just a me thing. But I do think it's all about recovery, right? I think it will play a role if somebody is not recovering to a T. I'm trying to think of the names. Naomi Lang, she's a great athlete and she's kind of popping off this year and last year too. She's really crushed it. But I do think it'll play a fatigue role with some athletes. Just by nature, everyone has a different recovery rate. Everyone fuels differently and travel hits everybody differently too. So I think it'll play a role, but not necessarily for everybody.
Interesting. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. I mean, it's not that far away from Sierre, right? It starts in Sierre, ends in Zinal. So yeah, I can't imagine it's that far away. So you got to think like maybe travel's not too much of a factor. It's all kind of in the vicinity or general area. So that probably, I feel like it's got to be way more stressful getting on a plane from Norway and then flying south. Like it
was awful. They lost my bags. It was a whole thing. But I think going back to this double in particular, like I think for someone like Naomi Lang, it's going to work in her favor because she felt what it felt like to win last weekend. And that is a huge game changer. So I think for her, I don't think she'll have an issue personally, because she's probably still on a high if I were to guess. I think the people that it might hit are the people that didn't have the best day in Austria and kind of let that fatigue sit and they're not necessarily coming in with the best headspace. And that's like no names in particular. I think that's just the situation that I would think would impact a double race.
Mindset going in. Let's talk Anna Gibson. So she was the first American last year in 2024. I think she was in 6th place. Comes back this year. Anna's been having a great season. I think that there's a lot to look forward to when it comes to her racing this year at this race. And it's cool. We've got almost had 3/4 of the Mountain Classic team for Worlds there. Ali Mack's not going to be racing, but we will have Anna and Lauren Gregory racing. And then another American popped up. I think I saw you comment on her photo. I think it's Katie Scheid is going to be racing this race for the first time since 2021, which is awesome.
Yeah. So Anna Gibson, I think her debut was 3:06, if I'm correct. And she has only leveled up since then. I think she has the ability to go close to 3 hours, if not under. I'm sure that's a goal she has. And I think she could do really, really well at this race. It really speaks to her skill set. She is one of the best, if not, she is the best uphill runner uphill sub ultra athlete in the US, in my opinion.
I agree.
And so I think she's going to be really, really strong. Katie is awesome to see her name there. I think I have people to note. I have a note in my document that says people to note, and it's Katie Scheid with exclamation points. I mean, if you remember, Courtney Dauwalter went to Zegama a few years ago and got 10th. It's not the place that you would expect Courtney to be at, and she hung with the big dogs. And I think this is pretty similar, but Katie lives and trains in Europe. She knows this terrain. She's objectively fast, and I'm really excited to see her out there, especially since 2021 was really, like, I think before the Katie we currently know.
Yeah.
So that'll be really fun to see her come back to a really competitive sub ultra, and hopefully get a top 10.
Yeah. Oh, I could definitely see it. I would not be surprised at all. I mean, especially like, what did she get? She was 19th in 2021. She ran 3:17:18. Dude, she's going to blow.
I think she'll be under 3:10 for sure, easily. Yeah.
For sure. Let's talk about the American contingent in general. Just off of the names that I've seen, I haven't reached out to everybody to make sure everybody's racing, but I've got a good idea. Like, we've got Alicia Vargo, Rachel Tomajczyk, Katie Scheid, Sydney Peterson from Brooks, Lauren Gregory, Anna Gibson. I'm not sure if Andy Cornish is racing. I know she was sticking to just uphill stuff for this year, although she is on the roster. Kyla Christopher Moody, and then Sarah Carter, Sarah Carter had a great race last week at Pitt's Alpine Glacier as well. A lot of like really strong women. I'm very excited to see like what this American contingent could possibly do. Like maybe more than two I could see in the top 10 possibly.
Yeah, I think I have my guesses, but I would say three in the top 10 could be a very realistic outcome for this group of US women. I mean, Lauren and Anna are obviously very, very talented, and this course is great for both of them with the road speed they have, the endurance they have, the engines they have, the success they've had on the Golden Trail circuit. Katie Scheid, we've already mentioned. Sarah Carter had a great race last weekend, and her specialty is more uphill, I would say, than downhill. So that's exciting because there was a lot of downhill last weekend. So for her to hang in the top 10 comfortably in that race with a lot of technical downhill, that gives me hope that she's really fit and ready for Sierre Zinal. So I'm really excited to see her as well. And yeah, very, very strong group of US women. It's always fun to see the representation out there.
Yeah, it's so crazy. I'm really excited for it. I gotta ask you. All right, so I had Maud here with just with a question mark. Like, where do you see Maud kind of fitting into this field after taking some years off from a few years off from this race? Obviously, the course record holder, 4-time champion. Do you think like is it possible to take time off from this race and then come back and go like nail it, or do you think like maybe like is she still in her prime? Like, is it possible? Like, what are your thoughts on that?
I don't feel comfortable ever counting Maud out. Yeah. I think it is interesting. She's had a unique few years. She has not hit the nail on the head too much in the last few years. Like she's raced minimally. She has raced and she showed up to the races that she's run, but it hasn't been, the 2022, 2023, 2021 Maud that we all know. That being said, it's hard to count her out of the top 5. Do I think she's going to get a course record? No. But do I think she'll be under 3 hours, which is usually top 5 or so? I think she can be under 3 hours. So I do have her in my top 5, but she also has a question mark for me too. Yeah. But I have a really hard time counting her out because she hasn't showed up to this race and had a terrible day. So she's got it pretty dialed. It's almost like trying to count Killian out after taking a few years off. He still shows up and throws down. So as long as she's healthy, which I don't necessarily, she's not the loudest person on social media, so you can't always tell how healthy someone is. But in my mind, she's pretty picky about the races that she shows up to and actually runs, and she's usually racing them healthy. So I do have a hard time not betting on her.
Yeah. I mean, just like, I have so much respect for that woman. Oh my God. Like the Pikes Peak Marathon course record, like
coming from sea level, or I guess maybe she did an altitude camp, but
regardless, like just like the fact that like she did that, there's just like, I don't know, so many things that she's accomplished in her career. That's like, damn. What a killer. Lots of amazing things to say about her. Do you think, just like looking at this women's field, is this I don't want to say an average women's field, or would you say this is above average women's field for this year? Like, is this like as deep as it gets? 3/4 is as deep as it gets? It's hard to say because I feel like there's a lot of consistency in how deep these fields are.
I think, yeah, exactly. I think it's pretty on par with what you usually see. And every single year I'm like, this is definitely the deepest. This is insane. And then the results are very similar. Like the times are still really similar. So I'm curious because again, this year I'm like, this is the deepest field I've ever seen. And I do think that the times are probably going to be quite similar. And I hope I'm proven wrong, but there are a lot of names that could be in the top 10, but I don't think that it's much different than the last, 4 or 5 years. It feels like there's always 15 women that could comfortably be in the top 10, and then another, 10 that you cannot count out.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. One thing I do want to note too, the just the depth of the Kenyan field. I feel like we continue to see more and more athlete representation from that area of the world. It is so deep. Like between, I think it's the Millimani runners, the Solomon. Is it the Solomon Millimani? Something like that. And then there's Run Together, obviously.
Yeah.
Just between those two teams, and then normal, like Joyce Naru, Falaris Kasang, who had a 4th place finish last year in 2024, Valentine Rudo, excuse me if I mispronounce a lot of these names, Faith Kipaglat, Caroline Kimutai, and obviously reigning champion Jolene. Yeah. So lots of, like, the depth is deep when it comes to the Kenyans, and same equally represented on the men's side as well, which we'll get to.
Yeah, it is. It's cool to see so many. I guess those teams have really filled out, and the depth is definitely there. I mean, there's always a good number of, I think only, I want to say it was only Run Together in the past.
Yep.
And there was maybe one other, but it really is cool to see a lot of these names coming out there and taking a stab at it. And these are objectively very fast athletes. So yeah, I'm really excited. I've raced Falaris a lot. I've raced Joylene a few times, and they are very, very talented. I think Falaris, the only way, so I've beat Falaris a few times, but only when there's a significantly technical downhill. Otherwise, it's like absolutely gone. So and I believe Falaris was also top 3 in the VK championships at the last Worlds. So a lot of uphill talent, a lot of road speed. So yeah, it'll be really exciting to see these teams come out in full force.
It's interesting. And I've had this, David Norris made this comment. It's a very similar comment when we were talking about, it was like a Cirque Series race a few years ago that Patrick and Philemon were in.
Last year.
Yeah, at Brighton. And he said something along the lines, he's like, man, when I got them onto the really technical stuff, he's like, that's where they struggled immensely. And he's like, when I have them on the runnable stuff, he's like, I have no chance. But the technical stuff, they seem to struggle on a little bit. So if there is an Achilles heel, that seems to be it. So.
And I think that's a good note to take for any road athlete that's coming to this race, whether they're from Kenya or the UK or anywhere, that is probably the limiting factor, is that there is still some technicality in the downhill. I think Sierre Zinal is probably the best race to show up to with that road skill set, but I've seen a lot of these, road crossover athletes have more trouble on the technical downhills. So that's what you have to capitalize on when you're racing the roadies. But someone like, I know we haven't mentioned her yet, but Lauren Gregory.
Oh yeah.
Is a technical
Demon.
guru. So I think
it's amazing.
yes. So I actually, that's one of the road crossover athletes that I would not count out on a downhill, and I wouldn't want to be near her on a downhill. So, yeah.
All right, let's get into the men's field. Obviously, KJ is not coming back this year. So returning champion and course record holder will not be there. But 8 of the top 10 returning athletes from 2024. So with the exception of Killian and Remy Bonnet, 8 of the top 10 in men will be back to represent and throw down. Largest country, I bet you can't get, let's see if you can get it. You'll probably get it. It's so easy. What's the largest country represented in the men's elite field?
I want to say Kenya.
No, Switzerland.
No, Switzerland. Oh, duh. That was okay.
24 elite men will be competing from Switzerland. So it is so crazy how many Swiss athletes are going to be there. Small but mighty American contingent. We got Christian Allen, Grant Culligan, Taylor Stack, who we'll talk about, Andy Wacker, and then Noah Williams. Dude, Taylor Stack last week, third place.
Stack.
Yeah. He reminds me of a lot. I've gotten to hang out with him a couple times. He reminds me of Eli for some reason. I don't know what it is. Maybe his demeanor, something. And then the way he races too. He just like a lot of like, I don't know, a lot of similarities to Eli for some reason.
Yeah. I was with Taylor the day they left for Europe. And that's actually the first interaction I've had with him. And, shy guy, but also so kind. And, I'm really, really curious to see how he does in Sierre Zinal. I think after last weekend, I'm like, wait a minute. This could be the year that we have 2 Americans in the top 10 for men and women. So this could be a really good year.
It's possible. Yeah. And I think besides Christian Allen, I see Taylor could be the one, like for sure.
Yeah.
There's a lot of, it's not, I don't want to say it's too early to start talking about like in the ranking for T-Roy as far as Taylor goes, where his like just from the season he's had already. But if he gets a good win, or not a win, but if he gets himself on the podium, top 5 at Sierre Zinal, it's definitely worth the conversation. Like I think he's having that level of season for sure.
Top 5 at Sierre Zinal for a man should definitely land in the Trail Runner of the Year for sure. Yeah.
For sure. All right. Kenyan contingent. Philemon's back. We talked about Philemon. We talked about Patrick. Dude, there's like, this is a deep group of guys. Like Josephat, I'm not even going to begin to try and get his name. Kiptrosh, 4th in 2024. Timothy Kibet, who just won Pitt's Alpine Glacier Trail this past weekend. Kevin Kibet, Nashan Kimplemo, and Samuel Kiptroch. So yeah, just a crazy Kenyan contingent as well.
Is Leonard from Chemutai, is he Kenyan?
Let me see. Maybe I missed it.
He's in my notes. He comes from road background. He won the last World Championships Classic race. Really, really good athlete, but I cannot remember what.
I don't have him with a Kenyan flag.
Okay.
Let me see if I can find him though. Leonard. Yeah, I don't see him on here. No, I have to go deeper, but
okay. Well, he's definitely one to watch. Yeah, he's definitely a good athlete.
All right. As we get deeper into the men, I just have a question. Like, where do you see Al Hussein fitting into this? Like, obviously he's raced this race before, has not had the result that he wanted. He's usually very dominant, but for some reason hasn't figured out this course. What are your thoughts on this?
I don't know. For some reason, I think El Hussein really thrives on that technical terrain. So I think Sierre Zinal it's brutal. He's really objectively fast. So it's hard to say it's, too runnable of a course for him. But I do think that piece might play into it. I think he could have a really, really good day. But there's just so many names here and so many people that have gotten top 5 at this race before and have nailed it, that I think El Hussein on a good day is going to be top 10.
Yeah.
And I think that's a safe assumption to make. But I actually don't have him in my top 5, which
I don't either.
feels really intense, but it is what it is.
Do you think with KJ out this year, do we get a Kenyan sweep? Like, is that possible of the top 5 or top 4? It was pretty damn close last year.
I think it could be close, but I have some names that I do think could potentially break it up. But there is a very strong, I think, the Millimani men in particular, there's 4 or 5 athletes that are all incredibly talented. I don't know their road times in particular, but they're impressive. Like when you look up these athletes, their IAAF comes up before their UTMB index, which means that they're, they're road runners by trade. And that's really awesome. Like these are really, really fast guys. But there are also a lot of athletes that aren't from Kenya that I think can break it up. I mean, you look at, so Taylor Stack, for example, last weekend at the Austria Golden Trail Race, they had kind of the climbing segment, the descending segment, and Taylor Stack was second in what I would consider a strong group of Kenyan men as well. And he held his own, and that's not to say that this is the exact same course and he'll do the exact same thing, but I think the fact that there are people climbing, with these athletes, no, there's no telling what will happen, but I saw Francesco Pupi in this field. I will not count Francesco Pupi out of any race, especially if it involves fast terrain. Spion is really fit right now. Yeah. He's also very fast, very talented. And then I mentioned Leonard is also a really comes from the road background, won the classic race in the World Championship. So has a lot of speed. And then there's also a lot of top 10. Second place from Zagama is here. There's a lot of top 10 from Zagama, and Sylvain Cachard was top 10 at Sierre Zinal last year as well. So I think there's a lot of people that could really break that sweep, which would be exciting.
I like it. All right, let's get into it. Let's start with the women. Let's do our picks. I'll let you go first.
Okay. And we're picking 5.
We'll go 5. 5 and then honorable mentions after.
Okay. Can I mention some names that we didn't mention also?
Yeah, of course.
Floria Madalena, Yao Miao, Alice Gaggi, Rosalara are all names that we didn't mention that have all been top 5 here, I believe, in the last 3 years. So that's incredible. I just want to start with that because that emphasizes how difficult this is for me. But I think, okay, my top 5, do you have them in order? Do I have to have them in? Oh,
I just threw them out in order. I mean, this is so hard to pick. So like, I totally get it. Like if you want to just throw,
I'm stressed.
You don't have to do 1 through 5. If you want to just throw names out there, go for it.
Okay. I'll try 5, but, so I would say, and then I'll do honorable mention. So I think 5th, Maud. 4th, Madalena Floria. 3rd, Bellaris.
Okay.
2nd, Faith, and 1st, Joylene.
Okay.
And then honorable mention, I'm going to have Lauren Gregory, Anna Gibson, and Alice Gaggi.
Perfect. Yeah, I think that's solid. I'm pretty close. So I've got 5th, Lauren Gregory. I have 2 Americans in my top 5. I swung for it this year. I
appreciate that because I feel sad that I didn't.
No, it's you're closer to this race than I am. So like you have a much better understanding. Like I only have.
But I think Lauren and Anna both could be in the top 5. So
totally
that's
possible.
Yeah, my honorable mention is easily put in.
I'm gonna throw. I threw Joyce Naru in at 4th, and like Joyce, I know has like had some struggles at this race before,
That's
But
why
yeah, but it's also had a lot of dominance in the series. So it's like, damn, it's a, just came off Broken Arrow, won. She also got second at Kobe. Struggles a little bit more on technical stuff, a little bit. Like had a hard time. Like in the past, has actually struggled more at Kobe. So I was actually even surprised to see her second. But I'm going to throw her fourth. Madalena Floria, who's gotten third at this race before, I put her in third place. Second place, I'm going Anna Gibson. I'm swinging for it. I'm going Anna Gibson. Yeah, I'm going to pick Anna Gibson. And the reason is like, I just think like we haven't yet figured out how good Anna is. I still think like we as a collective audience are still like, I still think she's had so many amazing performances, but it hasn't hit the one yet. And I think this
and she's just getting better.
Yeah,
so I fully think that's reasonable. Yep.
And in first, I'm going to go Jolene. And the one thing I will say about Anna is like, yes, she got out of the top. She was either just in the top 10 or just out in Zagama, but that's such a different, like you've raced Zagama. Like,
yes, she ran the exact same time and place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's such a different race, so much more technical. And I wonder if she was actually probably being more conservative at Zagama because she had Sunapee the next weekend.
Oh, for sure. And it's a 5-hour race. It's a little less, but still, I think this course speaks to Anna Gibson's strengths more than Zagama does. And that's not to say she can't thrive at Zagama, because that girl can do anything she puts her mind to. But I think she's only gotten better. So I do think a top 5 for her and Lauren is 100% possible.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. We'll see, but it's definitely wouldn't be surprised. I'll just put that one out there. I wouldn't be surprised. All right. Is there any honorable mentions? Obviously, Katie Scheide's an honorable mention. There's quite a few women. I do think, like I said, you said something really interesting earlier. You're like, when you win one of these races, you're kind of like, you're beaming. I feel like you get almost like a different level of confidence.
Yeah.
With the same time, does the confidence overshadow the pressure of having to repeat? Like, do you think there's pressure on someone like Jolene?
Yes and no. I think at the same race, yes. So at this race, like there probably will be a bit more pressure. I think that definitely plays into it. And I have felt that personally. But I also think that she's done well on so many different courses recently that I just feel like she's pretty used to at least the pressure from Golden Trail, and that's a pressure cooker. Yeah. So I don't think this will be that overwhelming. Yeah. Personally.
I agree. Yeah. Like I said, she's I think first place easily.
And same. Yep.
Yeah. All right, let's talk men. I'll let you take it away for top 5 for men.
Okay. Let's see. This is kind of on the spot because I had a top 10 in no particular order. So
sorry.
No, it's good. This is good for me. Top 5. I'm going to, oh man, this is stressful. Francesco Pupi, Stian, Leonard, Patrick, Philemon.
Very good. Yeah, I'm close. Very, very close.
An honorable mention, I would put Sylvain, Taylor Stack, Christian Allen.
Let's have a Christian Allen conversation.
Yeah.
Christian, to me, easily. And this is nothing against Taylor. This is nothing against any of the men, because I think we don't know how good Taylor is yet. I think we're still trying to figure it out. Taylor's nasty, but I think Christian is like supremely talented, like really, really talented. Like 2024 U.S. mountain running champ. What he just did at the Ascent, like, and one of the things I really found really interesting about Christian is like didn't have the race he wanted at Sunapee. Probably came back a little too soon after injury, and then goes and cracks one out of the park with the Broken Arrow Ascent and the 23K. Dude is so good. Do you think he didn't have the race he wanted to last week, but just because that happened? Like, I can't count him out. Like, I feel like there's something, like, he's very able to kind of put those things behind him and continue, like what you did with Broken Arrow, to be able to put something behind him, you know?
Yeah, and Christian Allen is a high volume racer. He races a lot. He's used to swinging and missing. He's used to coming back stronger. I think last week was absolutely not the course for Christian Allen. When I think muddy and technical, I think Lauren Gregory, not Christian Allen. And the reason I'm using them both is because I think they're similar athletes. But Sierre Zinal has Christian written all over it. I think he has had some trouble with nausea and fueling issues in the heat. OCC in particular is one race that I think of with that. But I know Christian's really fit right now. We both know that. And I think he has a fire under him from last weekend. And he has a new baby. So he's got that crazy new dad energy. I think he could do really, really well here. It's, like we talked about, the Kenyan contingent is so deep this year that I think I had 3 out of my top 5 as Kenyans, but I think Christian could really break that up on a good day. The reason I didn't have him in the top 5 is just because I think he's another person that it'd be nice to get a few more data points on. Yeah. I mean, the dude ran one of the fastest road marathon debuts ever. And so I'm not counting him out at all. And I would love to see him in the top 5.
Yeah, he's so good. I think he might be a year or 2 away. I think when he does finally get it figured out, one of the biggest names in the sport. I think it's totally possible. Okay, so I'm going to go Philemon 1. Just because he's had so much experience in this race, and for some reason he just hasn't figured it out. I don't know what it is, but he's got it dialed. First place in 2023, last year second place in 2024, so close to Killian. Second place, I'm going to go Patrick. He was second and then third, second in 23, third in 24. In third place, I'm going to go Timothy Kibet, who just won Pitt's Alpine Glacier. In fourth place, I'm going Yosefat Kipchoge. He was fourth in 2024. And then in fifth place, I'm going to go Taylor Stack.
Love it.
Throw a T Stack in there. Why not?
Love it. So we align on the winners. We mostly align on top 3, I feel like. And I mean, like we mentioned, this is a toss up. It's going to be a crazy race. And I think it'll be really fun to see what these athletes can do out there.
Yeah. Yeah. I listen, I think you had some amazing picks, and it's so hard to get these right. I'm never correct, not even close. I really hope I'm really right for the American women, and same with American men. But yeah, it's so hard to predict. It's impossible.
I hope to see 5 American athletes. I think my goal is to see 5 American athletes in the top 10 for both fields, total. So 3 women, 2 men is kind of what I'm hoping / expecting, and that would be really awesome. I mean, that'd be pretty groundbreaking.
Yeah.
I think.
What a race. What do you want to close on? Anything you can close on as far as the race goes, or?
I think to all the runners out there, if you can get yourself to Sierre Zinal someday, whether that's spectating or running, or I think there's a tourist race where they literally start really early and they hike the entire thing. And if you can get out there, go to it. It is so worth it. And then to those competing, I really hope that everyone has the day that they can dream of, whether that's, first or 10th or just feeling like it's a really strong effort that someone's proud of. This is a race that it just holds so much importance to me. And it is the one race where I have physical FOMO when I'm not there. It's just, there's a gravitational pull towards this race, and I'm so excited to watch.
Oh man. Beautiful words, Bailey. I can't wait to see you back there next year.
Yes. Yeah, I will be back, and I'm chasing the sub 3 barrier. So yeah, someday.
Well, appreciate it. Thank you so much. This might have been my favorite race preview. This was great. So lots of great commentary, lots of good stuff. Thank you so much for coming on, and yeah, we'll have to do this again sometime. Maybe for Zagama next year with chat. This would be a good one.
Amazing. Yes, I would love that. And, maybe we'll chat. Maybe I'll be in the field.
I was going to say, that's true. If you're going back to Zagama, then we'll do pre-race interviews then instead.
Yes, for sure. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you, Bailey.
What do you guys think? I hope you got a lot of value out of that one. What an awesome episode. I want to thank Bailey so much for coming on and being just open to doing these episodes and or just doing this episode and, being able to have this conversation and talking about the race that she loves so much. Absolute natural, like really good commentating, and can provide just such firsthand value on the sport. So, while Bailey is an amazing professional athlete and she's going to go on to continue to do amazing things in our sport, she also has a future in commentating. So, guys, you can find Bailey, give her a follow. You can find her at Bailey Kowalczyk. It's just one word, Bailey, Bailey, Kowalczyk. That's on Instagram for her handle. Give her a follow. Let her know what you guys thought about the episode. And if you got some value out of it, send her some words of encouragement. I think she would really appreciate that. I know she loves this race a ton. So good stuff there. If you guys did enjoy this episode, please give us a 5-star rating and review on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you consume your podcast. That would mean the world to me. That's how I can continue getting these episodes out and helping to tell the stories of some of these amazing athletes in our sport. Guys, we got some amazing stuff coming down the pipeline. Stay tuned next week for a collaboration that's going to be dropping with the Sub Hub that I'm so excited for. So all good stuff there. Hope you guys have a great rest of your week. Thank you so much, and thanks for tuning in. People, what's going on? It is summer, guys. Super exciting. Adventures in the mountains, summer races. It's about that time to start thinking about your gear. I want to say our brand partner, Ultimate Direction's got you guys covered. Pop on over to ultimatedirection.com. Check out a whole quiver and new vests and belts that have just dropped. Pop on over to check out the new race and ultra vests. Race vest in a 6-liter, the ultra vest in a 12, and beautiful new aesthetic colorways. Definitely dynamic and stretchy, cool new materials. And definitely something that can definitely buff out your kit for 2025. On top of that, we did just drop a brand new pull quiver that's compatible for all of these vests. Definitely something you're going to want to add. And if you're not a vest person, pop on over to the belt section. You can check out the utility belt and the comfort belt. The utility belt is a little bit more of an ultra belt, more storage capacity, a little bit thicker, and ability to hold poles. The comfort belt's a little bit smaller. Think sub-ultra or workout maybe oriented belt that's going to hold your gels and your phone. Still super durable, but just a little bit tinier for those smaller adventures or maybe shorter races like a Cirque Series race or something like that in the mountains. So pop on over to ultimatedirection.com. They have you covered for all your hydration solutions. Use code SteepStuffPod for 25% off. Again, that's SteepStuffPod, one word, for 25% off. Ultimate Direction's got you covered. And if you have any questions, shoot me a DM. Let me know. I'd be happy to answer any product-related questions for you guys. So thanks so much. Check out Ultimate Direction.